So I've been doing this for a while now, and I would say that probably the number one question I get revolving short-term rentals is how the heck I manage all of them, Rob? How do you do it, Rob? You live in so many parts of the country, you got 14 different Airbnbs. It's impossible to manage so many Airbnbs. How do you do it? What's the secret? Well, little childrens, don't worry. I'm here to teach you, my little chickens.
My soul cries out hallelujah, thank God.
Welcome to today's episode of Rob Built. Wow, this started weird and it got weirder. So I wanted to talk about my experience with managing properties, how I used to self-manage it, how I transitioned into a property management software, some of the pros and cons. And then if you stick around until the very end of the video, life pro tip, I'll actually give you a walkthrough of the property management system that I use, which while we're talking about it, today's episode is brought to you by Guesty for Hosts. If you want $20 off your subscription, use promo code ROBBUILT or use the link in the description down below. Which I'm really excited about because when I asked my subscribers if y'all wanted a deep dive into the property management system that I use, all of you said you wanted to see it, and then Guesty reached out and said, hey Rob, we like you. We want to sponsor this video. They sounded way cooler than that though. So stick around until the very end and we're gonna actually do a quick walkthrough of that platform. So let's get into the nitty gritty. After many years of fine tuning my processes and systems, building my teams, I feel like I finally have a solution to managing my properties, right? Like, you know, I talk a lot about building your Airbnb Avengers. Caleb spent a long time on this specific graphic, so we're gonna go ahead and play it here. That's really just half of it. The other half of it's gonna be the property management tools, systems, softwares, platforms that you use. Okay, so let's backtrack a little bit and let's just define what a property management system or platform is. So a PMS for short is basically a platform, system, or service that provides solutions to the day-to-day tasks that hosts are carrying out in the short-term rental business. That sounds a little corporate, doesn't it? Basically, a PMS is this tool that has a bunch of cool little functions that don't make you pull your hair out every single day as a host. So a very quick example of a tool that would be part of a PMS that makes your life as a host easier would be something like automated messaging. So imagine that you have a very popular Airbnb and you are booking between 10 and 20 stays every single month. That's 10 to 20 people that you have to message several times throughout the course of their stay. So whenever someone sends you an inquiry, whenever someone checks in, the day after they check in and you want to follow up and make sure everything's going out, relaying checkout instructions, like all of those different scenarios are times at which you'll be sending messages to your guests, right? So that's just like 4 off the top of my head. If you have 20 reservations in a month, that right there is 80 messages that you would have to send out to different guests throughout any given month. Those are a lot of messages that you're probably gonna forget to send out because you're human and there's just no way that you can do all of that by yourself. I used to do this myself. I used to self-manage myself and I used to miss messages all of the time. Well, with the proper PMS, you can actually automate all of your messaging so that you don't have to like be in the weeds of messaging every single one of your guests. It's a beautiful thing. It's something that I talk about quite often on the channel because I'm just such a big believer in automating so much of your business as you can. Another very little nifty tool would be like auto inquiry messagings. Whenever someone does an instant book and they send an inquiry asking you some kind of clarification around your listing, typically you want to respond to those people as fast as possible because it's very possible that they also messaged 4 other hosts. And if you're not one of the first people to respond to them, one of those other 4 hosts that they message might give them their attention much quicker and actually snag that reservation out from under you because you didn't respond fast enough. That could cost you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. I have probably lost out on tens of thousands of dollars over the course of my hosting because I just wasn't fast enough at responding to people because I had a 9-to-5 job, wife, dog, normal life. You know, I'm human. I can't be glued to my phone every single day. And in this business, time is money. So if you have the right property management tool, what it can do is instead of you having to respond lightning fast, it can send out a message to that guest and say, hey, Caleb, I see that you've sent me a message here. Give me a couple moments to answer your question and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. That right there already makes that potential guest feel a little better because they're like, oh, okay, I've been heard. They hear me and I'll just kind of sit tight until that host gets back to me. That little function right there can set you apart from all your competition in the area. Another really common question that I get is what about cleaning? How can I manage cleaners for 14 different properties? You know, how do you do it, Rob? And here's the short answer, I don't. The right property management tool can help you do that by actually sending out automated text messages and email alerts to your cleaning crew. It can send them the schedule. It can let them know when people are checking in, checking out, even whenever people book your place. So that cleaner has a heads up that they have to schedule you, in to their schedule. Pretty standard. There are some property management tools that will even get super, I mean, there's like hundreds of features within all the platforms that exist out there, but the right PMS can even have financial reporting data that basically tracks how much money you're making. You can track expenses and all that kind of stuff if you really want to be in the weeds of your financials for your short-term rental business. So there are so many aspects of your business that you can automate through the right property management system. These are just a few of the ones that I use. I don't necessarily use the financial reporting as much because I actually have a bookkeeper that helps me track the expenses, but just goes to show you you that really the possibilities are endless, and it just is going to come down to your personal style on how much you want to micromanage or how much you want to give away. For me, it was very tough for me to give away so many aspects of my control to robots, if you will.
Robots, huh? Robots.
A lot of hosts, including myself, are very stubborn about relinquishing control because in some regards it really feels like ultimately you're giving up a little bit of the quality of your listing. But I think that when you really spend a lot of time fine-tuning and optimizing your automations and all the different functions and triggers inside of your property management system, it can actually improve the quality of your listing. Man, you're stuntman 101 over here. Guys, give it up for Caleb in the comments.
I have no idea what I'm doing, but I know I'm doing it really, really well.
If you really think about it, honestly, the quality of your communication in hosting go up pretty significantly whenever you use a property management system because there's not as many things falling through the crack. For me, I didn't want to give up so many aspects of hosting, and so I didn't really enable the use of a property management tool at the beginning of hosting because I was like, oh, I can do it. I can do it all. And I could, honestly, for the first 1, 2, 3, 4-ish listings, I was really doing a good job managing everything just manually, if you will. But then once we added listing 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, then you can start to see how things fall through the cracks. Guests start sending you messages and you don't respond, and then they'll leave you a 3 or 4 star for bad communication. Then you get hurt and you're just like, wow, what the heck? Well, how can I be a better host? And a lot of the times it just comes down to recognizing that we can't do it all. And that's fine. That's totally fine. I think the faster you recognize that, the faster you'll start making a little bit more money on Airbnb. By the way, if you want to learn about any of this, if you want to go into excruciating details on the Airbnb journey and how to start your business from A to Z, consider looking into HostCamp. I'll leave a link in the description down below. Enrollment is open, so be sure to look into that if you want to be mentored by me. So with all of this said, obviously I'm a big fan of just using tools to make your business as efficient as possible. I guess the other question that needs to be answered is, can you automate everything? Can you automate your entire Airbnb business? And as much as I'd love to say you can, the harsh truth is that you can't. But I do think that you can come pretty close. And I'll give you a couple of examples with this. So let's say that you wanted to automate your messaging, right? So let's say that Caleb books your place. You can schedule a message to go out and say, hey Caleb, thanks for booking a stay at Casita Conejo. I've got you down for 2 guests on January 20th. We'll see you soon. The day that Caleb is going to check in, I can also send a message that says, hey, hope you're looking forward to your stay. Down below is a house manual. In there, you'll find all the info that you need to check in. It's a super easy self-check-in process. Now, what you can't automate against is whenever Caleb responds to those messages. So we can use automations to make our hosting lives easier, but we can't necessarily use them as a crutch. Because if Caleb then responds and says, hey man, I'm really excited about my stay today. By the way, do you have a can opener? Well, there is no tool that you can put in place to answer that highly specific question, right? And so that's where you still have to have what I call a bird's eye view. I mean, I didn't coin the term bird's eye view, but like in respect to hosting, you want to have a bird's eye view of your business where you can swoop in and help anytime that you need to, but you don't necessarily want to be on the ground level putting out fires. That's why we build teams and automations. So you still have to respond to people whenever they ask highly specific questions, because if you don't, then yeah, look, will Caleb survive if he doesn't find out about the can opener? Caleb, are you going to survive? Yes? No, you're not going to. Well, in most cases, Caleb is going to survive if he doesn't find out about the freaking can opener, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be happy about it, and he might ding you. He might give you a 4-star review because you didn't get back to him, so he went out and bought a can opener. Then when he got to the Airbnb, he found out that there was a can opener, so now he spent $5 for no freaking reason, right? And so now you've just possibly tainted his experience in some capacity. Messaging is a really great example of something that you can automate, but only about 90% of it. You still need to allot time to the other 10% where you are answering some of these more nitty-gritty questions. So with that said, no, you can't automate everything. Sorry, I know that there are a lot of Airbnb influencers out there that are like, hey, automate your business. You can do it and make millions too. I'm gonna keep it a little bit more real with you. Now, with that said, a good PMS should help you chop out about 50% of the time that you're allotting towards hosting. So for me, I try to obviously spend as little time as possible, in the weeds of my business because I've got so many other businesses out there. So I'm trying to spend about 1 to 2 hours of my week on my Airbnb business. And I've got different people that are helping me manage it and everything because I've got a channel and businesses and all that kind of stuff. But what I really want aspiring hosts to aim for is maybe 3 to 5 hours per week per property when you're starting out. And then I want you to optimize your business to the point where hopefully you're spending 1 to 2 hours per week per property. And then you get to the point where you mega automate everything and you spend 1 to 2 hours a week hosting on Airbnb in general. So I'm kind of curious. I know that there are a lot of hosts that watch my channel. How much time do you spend managing your business? Leave me a comment down below because some people are like, I spend 30 hours a week. And some people are like me, they spend 1 to 5 hours a week, depending depending on how crazy that week is, because, you know, as much as I like to say I have everything like down pat, ready to rock, and like very automated, whenever it rains, it pours, and then the opposite is true. Whenever it's calm, it's just like you don't hear a peep from certain listings. So you just never know what you're gonna get with Airbnb, which honestly I think is my favorite part about hosting, because there's always a new situation to learn from. There are always people that you have to learn how to maneuver when they're unreasonable, or they're super angry, or they're very petty or whatever, right? So for me, I often feel like I've seen it all, but honestly, I feel like we're just scratching the surface here. We're at the tip of the iceberg, but I'm really excited because the more crazy situations I endure, the more crazy situations I can teach you guys about. So that's my spiel on property management tools, automating, like why they're important, the pros. There really aren't a lot of cons. I don't think there are any cons, but that's my general POV on a property management system. I still know a lot of hosts that have like 10, 15 listings that are doing everything manually. That kind of stuff always melts my mind to hear, because I know a lot of them and they're all very smart, and I'm just like, dude, don't you want your time back? If you could have your time back and it would cost you $7 to $50 a month to do that, why wouldn't you? It's a very obvious trade-off for me. So now that the beautiful golden hour has ended, why don't we head inside so that Caleb can rest his weak little arms, Mr. Violently Shaking over here, and do a quick walkthrough of my favorite PMS, Guesty for Hosts. All right, we're back in the office here, and typically this is like the part of the video where I'd be like, this video is brought to you. Now we do a 60-second ad integration, but I figured why not change it up and actually show you how the platform works. Again, I do want to say that this is the platform that I actually use. I think that's really important to notate. So I do want to say a couple of things here. If you've ever heard me talk about Your Porter, that is now the Guesty brand. And there are two Guesty products. There are Guesty for Hosts, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. That is for hosts that have between 1 to 3 listings. And then there's another product called Guesty for Pros, and that's for people that have 4+ listings. People that are working professionals in property management or just overall short-term rentals. And before we hop into the platform, I did want to quickly point out that Guesty for Hosts also has a really great mobile app for all the hosts on the go like me. So if you're not near a computer or a laptop or anything like that, no worries. Now let's go through Guesty for Hosts. So whenever you log in, this is going to be your main portal here. And you're going to see here that this is your daily activity. So this just gives you an overview of what's happening at your property. So we have someone expected to check out today, Monday, January 17th, out of Casita Conejo. And then someone is expected to check in today at Casita Conejo. So I now know that I have a same day turn. So I need my cleaners to show up, get it ready for the guests here. They have no wiggle room. They can't come clean tomorrow or anything like that, right? So it doesn't really affect my day-to-day necessarily, but it is nice to know when I am back-to-back, because that gives me time to have maintenance done on the property, or pest control can come into the property or anything like that. Oh yeah, and don't forget, you can get $20 off your subscription of Guesty for Hosts by using my link down in the description below, or using promo code RAWBUILT. Now let's jump into our calendar tab here, and you can see Casita Conejo. I have bookings here for the next couple of days, kind of wide open here for the next month, and then I have some bookings here in February as well. I'm not super worried about that. Historically, during this season in Joshua Tree for me, I get a lot of last minute bookings. Like I would say 60 to 80% of my bookings happen the day of or 1 to 3 days before. So this will pretty much give you an overview of all of your properties. So let's say you have 3 different properties here, and it just gives you a top-down view of your property and how busy they are during the different seasonalities, if you will. Then you've got your cleaning tab here. And again, this is probably gonna be one of the more clutch features that you use with the Guesty platform. I like a lot of the different functionalities here. So you can run cleaning reports, you can do checklists. So if you want to create a new checklist for your cleaner, let's say you want to do Conejo deep clean, because you want to do a deep clean every so often, and then you can just add different things here, right? So you can just make sure that your cleaner is showing a little bit of love to certain items. So we can say things like clean fridge, clean microwave, dust baseboards, remove bodies from closets, and clean behind toilets. And you can create this checklist and actually send that to your cleaner. So for Conejo Deep, let me rename that fast. Conejo Deep Clean. All right, there we go. I forget I said anything. So save. So there we go. So I can then copy this list. So that could be a cleaning list that you then send to your cleaning crew. Now, I think that perhaps the most interesting feature here are your cleaning reminders. You can actually send reminders to your team, just like it says right there. And basically where this really saves you a lot of time is that you're not having to text your cleaners when people are checking in and checking out. You can have Guesty for Hosts do this for you. So you can see here, every time I get a new reservation, it sends a daily task list to my cleaner. And then whenever I have a checkout, it also sends that daily task list to that cleaner. So I just want to kind of show you how this works logistically. You can create or select different task types that you'll then assign to your cleaners. So for example, I have here cleaning. So you'll have 3 different triggers here for your automation. So you can choose between your new reservation, check-in, and checkout. So let's select checkout here. And you can even get more specific. You can say after a guest checks out. So the moment a guest checks out, you can send a reminder and even choose the time. So I've got here 12 p.m. So at noon, on noon the day that a guest checks out, which is about 2 hours after they check out, you can send a reminder. So I'm going to select on the day that the guest checks out and then go continue here. So that I can actually choose the listing here. So let's say Casita Conejo, and then I can continue with that listing. So then you can choose a teammate here, which in theory are your cleaners, and you can add a teammate if you don't have them in the system already. So let's say it's Ron Frugal Man, Ron Frugal Man 223 at hotmail.com. Phone number 713-444-1. Okay, whatever. I'm sure that's a real number. So then you can see that I can actually send it to him here via text message or email. So I'll hit OK. And then I can actually choose what information to send him. So the base messaging that you can send here is that they have a cleaning on this checkout date for listing name. And those are tags. So it's going to go ahead and change that checkout date depending on when it is. And then for this, it would say Conejo in that text message. I can also add things like checkout date, number of guests, confirmation date, all that kind of stuff if I want to. My cleaners just prefer those first two. And then you can continue. And if I have a checklist here that I created, remember like the Conejo deep clean, I can add that here if I really want to micromanage it. But typically my cleaners have their own lists, and I'll just say here, continue without checklist. And then here's an overview of all the things that I'm sending them. So check in, check out, date of next check-in, next reservation, number of guests. That's an important one so that they know how many towels to put out, extra pillow sheets, all that kind of stuff. Continue. And since I'm making this rule today, I can actually send them a text and email with all of the future cleans that are currently scheduled in my calendar. So confirm. Your teammate will receive daily messages about scheduled tasks. Great. Boom, easy peasy. Then Ron Frugalman will get that text message, and then he'll add it to his calendar or his diary or whatever he wants to use to track his cleaning. And then one of the final tabs here that I wanted to show you is messaging. And what I really like about this is that they have a unified inbox. So not only is it my personal listings, it also shows all the messages from all of the different listings that I'm a co-host on. So I don't even necessarily have to use the Airbnb or VRBO app if I don't want to. I can keep it all within Guesty. Now, a few more things to talk through here. We've got our automated messaging. So I can actually schedule messages to people, and I'll show you what that looks like. So I've got a welcome message here. So basically what that means is whenever someone books my place, I say, hey, thanks for booking, kind of like I was talking about earlier. So I'll actually show you what this looks like. Go here, I'll go to template, and let me edit here. So whenever someone books a stay at Casita Conejo, they will get this message right here. Thanks for booking a stay at Casita Conejo. First name, going to be replaced with their first name. Your reservation starts on this day. Friendly reminder that this house runs on septic. Do not flush anything other than toilet paper. Thank you. So if there are any important things that I need them to know, I will send it to them in that initial message. And you got all your different tags here that you can include. And obviously this is all very adjustable based on your specific listing. You can choose to send more messages or less messages. But as you can see here, I pretty much just do 3. I have a welcome message whenever they book, a check-in message the day of, a checkout message the day before that gives them any pertinent information that they need to know, like taking out trash, washing dishes, and then I also have a review. So I just want to show you how easy it is to create an automated message. So we're going to go to scheduled messaging here, start automating your repeating messages. So I'm going to schedule my review prompt. And what this basically means is a couple of days after a guest checks out, I want to send them a message that says, hey, Caleb, I hope you enjoyed your stay. My business depends on 5-star reviews. I'd really appreciate it if you took a moment to review your stay at Casita Conejo. And I found that by doing this, my 5-star reviews went up significantly because I was reminding people that I'm just a person and I need their help in reviewing my place. And I also realized that by asking a 5-star review, people felt bad about leaving me anything less than a 5-star review. So it's kind of a win-win. And one of the other things is if you don't ask for a 5-star review and someone just reviews you off the top of their head without hearing from you how much you need it for the survival of your business, people are less likely to leave you a 3 or 4-star review. So I'll show you how to do that really fast. So we're going to hit schedule new message. This is going to be a platform message. So this would be going out on Airbnb because Casita Conejo is exclusively on Airbnb. And then we'll do checkout. And I'll show you why. So I can do after a guest checks out, I can select how many days after they check out I want to send this. So I want it to be like fresh on their mind, but not necessarily like so far after that they can't remember their stays. So I'll say 2 days after someone stays, I'll send them a message. We'll go to Casita Conejo. Then we're going to do Conejo review because I already have that template in my system. And so basically 2 days after a guest checks out at noon, they will get this message from me that says, hey, I hope you enjoyed your stay at my house. I'm trying really hard to maintain superhost status and rely 100% on the 5-star reviews of my amazing guests, blah, 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 right? So then confirm it, and then it gives me the schedule here of when it's gonna send out all these different things. So then I hit confirm, automation rule created, boom, good to go. And then we'll see it pop up here in my scheduled messages. So we got welcome, check-in, Conejo checkout, and then Conejo review. And then boom, easy peasy. And then yeah, I'll just show you a few of the other things. They have a website builder here. So if you ever want to go off platform and have www.casitaconejo.com, you can actually build that website within Guesty for Hosts. You can do your income reports. This is where you can actually see how much your different properties made. So we can see view income reports here. You don't have any income reports yet. Please click here to create your first report. We'll go Casita Conejo, continue, and it will actually pull that information from Airbnb and VRBO and put it all together for you. I'm a self-operator model, continue. type in report name, Conejo report. And then boom, it'll show me how much I made in my last complete month. So the date range we have here is December 1st through December 31st. That month, my net payout was $9,183. I had $284 in platform fees. And then that month I paid $1,440 in cleaning fees. And then it'll even show you things like your occupancy rate. And as you can see here in December, I had 93.6% occupancy. And then my average daily rate was $275.48. So yeah, like I said, you can get pretty technical with the financial data here. Obviously, a lot of this data is in Airbnb, but if I'm being honest, this is laid out way nicer than Airbnb. Airbnb is a little finicky sometimes. So like I said, website builder, income reports, you can even track your expenses, other key statistics. If you want to do smart pricing, like if you don't like the Airbnb pricing tool, which no host on planet Earth does, you can even use their dynamic pricing feature if you want. And Smart Locks is one of my favorite ones, and that's where you can actually integrate with locks like the Slage On code so that every single time there's a new reservation, it auto-generates a new code for every single new guest. And that new code can be set to be the last 4 digits of that guest's phone number so that they can easily remember it. So that's it. That's the walkthrough. I mean, obviously there's so much more I can dive into, but this is YouTube and I do try to keep my videos to be a short, snappy 10 minutes or so. This one's probably like, what do you think, Caleb? Like 12 minutes or so? Somewhere in there. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, if there's something I didn't cover with property management systems, or if you have a specific question about Guesty for hosts, I know that they're pretty active on social media, so ask your question down below, and I'm pretty sure you'll see them answer a couple things down in the comments. Don't forget to sign up with my promo code down below to save on your monthly subscription for Guesty for hosts, and thanks again to Guesty for sponsoring this. So I guess I'll catch you guys on the next episode of Raw Built.